welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Ben Slinger, and with me, as always, this week for episode 170 is Trev. Scott.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
What's going on?
Pretty tired.
Oh, I don't care. Let's do the show. I think we are going to start off with a new segment. A new game that we play. Usually we do click pitch, but Trevor, do you want to tell our listening audience what we're doing, what we're starting with this week?
We're going to start off with click picture. Click picture. Click picture is a game where we each have a random image generator. Well, it's not really an image generator, but it's a link fetcher in which we're going to fetch from a list of 177, now 176 images that were on a Board Panda site that Ben found last week, and we're going to put them into a Discord and have a laugh and then come up with a game based around those.
That's it. So
at least we'll do two this time, but so we've got one each. Yeah. And
so if you listen to last week's episode, you know what this is. We kind of ad hoc, on the fly, came up with this idea of using stock photos, weird stock photos, to use as our inspiration for a game. And so we're turning it into a regular segment, or at least trying it out this week. So yeah, we're going to do two photos.
It worked well last week with Sexy Tutankhamun, so we'll see what happens this week.
So we have the URLs of these images. We're going to paste them into Discord. We don't know what they are ourselves, so we're going to see them simultaneously.
Yep.
So I've got mine pasted, ready to hit enter.
Yep.
How about you, Trev? Yep.
I'll just let you paste first.
3, 2, 1, paste. Okay, we have a giant chick, as in a baby chicken, chasing after a baby running in a nappy.
Okay. This chicken is on cleanup duty.
Cleanup duty?
Mm-hmm.
What is this chick cleaning up? Baby poop?
Yep.
That's disgusting. What? Okay, so do you play the chick? Do you play the baby?
You play the chick.
So this is like a Pac-Man style game, but instead of little...
Instead of pellets, you're picking up nuggets. Yeah.
Now, I have a 7-month-old right now. Like, depending on how old this baby is, the consistency of what you're picking up, maybe we won't go there.
Is your baby walking around?
No, mine isn't, no.
Yeah, so it's obviously not 7 months old. I'd say maybe about 18 months. Maybe, and by that time, the consistency is probably a bit better.
All right. Sure.
Okay, no, what's actually happened is this is actually not a huge chick. This is a tiny baby.
Okay. Yeah, we can go there.
Yeah.
Honey, I Shrunk the Baby. Yeah.
So I think this is just... kind of like if you remember the movie Jack, where the baby grew up really, really fast and then turned into Robin Williams by the time in grade 2 or whatever.
Well, now I'm picturing like a game in VR where you're having to look after. It's like a childcare game of some sort where you're having to look after all these babies and literally like pick them up between your fingers to like put them back where they're supposed to be and carry them around and protect them from giant baby animals.
Yeah, so what I'm thinking is, if you remember that giant cop game that I had for VR.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, except you're picking up the tiny babies.
Yeah.
So you're not quite as giant. You're kind of like medium-sized giant in compared to that one.
Yeah, I like it as like these babies are just wandering around and there are hazards, and it's a frantic save as many babies as you can game as they like crawl towards hazards and fall off of things and go towards vicious baby chicks and puppies and
kind of like think of The Children except in VR.
Yeah, in VR, and you have to like
single player
grab them and I don't know. Do you have other tools then? Like, is it just pick them up and bring them back towards you? I feel like that would get old pretty quickly. So, how else do you to protect these babies?
I think there's like little repair tasks that you got to do. So, you know, as the animals are trying to break into the center or whatever, they're basically, you know, carving holes in walls and that sort of stuff by scratching.
Okay.
So you got little repair tasks like that, but you've also then now you got power tools out, and now you got to be careful that the babies don't get into the power tools.
I like that. Okay, I like that a lot. That you have to repair things with physical tools that are on your tool belt or something, but you can only hold you can only hold one on your tool belt at a time or something. So the other ones you have to put down, and if the babies get hold of them, then more shit's going to go down.
Yeah.
And are you basically creating more hazards while you're repairing other ones?
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like the idea. Okay, maybe you're at like a kid's first birthday, and so there's like a petting zoo.
Yep.
And the animals consistently break out of it, and so you have to like go fix the fence, and then there's like the cake, but if they climb the cake, they could fall off it because they're all tiny for some reason. Yeah, there's, you know, they could drown in the punch bowl. It's a little bit dark, but this is cartoony, I guess. But yes, different things that you have to save them from.
Yeah, and you just got to be really, really careful about the ravenous chick who just wants to, like, take the baby's nappies. Because that's literally what the photo is showing.
That's what they're going for.
Going for the...
is that what this photo is showing? I'm not sure this photo is showing any... I don't think there's any intent behind this photo. And I have to wonder if anybody has literally ever, you know, bought this photo for any reason. Mm-hmm. But, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows?
No idea. But anyway, 3, 2, 1, enter.
Oh my goodness. All right. We have now, we're playing with size a lot here. Although, no, I guess based on... Anyway, we have a person of some sort whose stomach is a watermelon.
Yep. And he's eating a tiny watermelon.
And eating another tiny watermelon. So there's some weird cannibalistic stuff going on here. Okay.
And there's, like, flocks and flocks of birds in the background.
Flocks and flocks of birds, you know, like nice, you know, calm blue, cloudy, like, you know, scattered clouds in the sky. Okay. I feel like this is another VR game where you're, like, stuck because you are half human, half watermelon in the middle of this watermelon field.
Yep. Okay. So, what you are is you're a scarecrow.
That makes sense.
Yep. In this watermelon, patch, you're saving all the watermelons from the crows by destroying the watermelons by eating them.
Well, I feel like there's got to be some trade-off there where it's like you can eat the watermelons for like health or power up or some sort of ability.
Well, your ability has to be replenishing your watermelon seeds that you've spit out like a machine gun.
Okay. So it's got to be a like a skill shot sort of thing then, because you don't want to just machine gun it, or you're going to have to eat a ton of watermelons to, you know, and then you've saved less watermelons by the end.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, that's cool. I like this as a VR shooter. Interesting then, if you're spitting these watermelons, you're like, it's not where you're aiming your hands, it's where you're aiming your face. Mm-hmm. As a shooter, so that's kind of interesting. Yeah. Unlike
a lot of other shooters in VR, it is literally you have to point your head in the right position.
Yeah. And so then with your hand, that leaves your hands more free for other things. So whether that is obviously reaching for watermelons to replenish your seed supply. Is there, so the fact that this is all well and good. Oh no, I guess it's fine. I was going to say, why do you have the watermelon belly? But that's where your seeds are coming from. So that's fine.
Yep.
You're this weird, like, fucking hybrid fruit scarecrow.
Yeah, effectively.
Okay. I can get behind that. That's pretty awesome. I actually feel like that's one we could build. You just got the birds coming down. Mm-hmm. eating watermelons, spitting seeds at them.
So I was almost thinking, is there a way that we can sort of bring this back into, some of our previous properties, namely the Starch Wars, in which, like, you're now cannibalizing, like, watermelons. Like, it's...
I mean, yeah, this could be like a sort of Starch Wars side story. It's just the one story of this watermelon who spliced, like, it's a mad scientist watermelon. Because we've got the whole thing of, like, eventually unfreezing the humans.
Yep.
Maybe this mad scientist stumbled across some human DNA and spliced it with his watermelon self, and thus became this scarecrow monstrosity, and is now just forever stuck here trying to save his brethren, his sleeping, growing children, and occasionally eating them because he's a mad scientist.
So I think what he doesn't realize is by eating all these watermelons, he's actually, like, effectively going to keep growing and growing and growing until when he splits open, a whole heap of new watermelon seeds that will come out and basically will replenish.
Are you saying he's pregnant?
He's pregnant with watermelons. Yeah,
pregnant. Are they going to be half human?
They're going to be half human. Yeah,
the bottom half.
Yes.
Yeah. So at the
he's
end of
top
the
half
game,
human, and they're going to be bottom half.
At the end of the game, your giant watermelon belly splits open, and all these little watermelons on human legs
start running around,
run out, and that's how you get a high score. That's your high score. That's how many of them come.
Oh God!
All right.
Okay, I reckon we go back into normal click pitch now.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move back to some normal click pitch. I feel like sticking with that is a dangerous game. We have to dole it out slowly. Or overload.
We get one each time. I'm just going to bookmark this so that we can actually. So I remember where it is. So Ben actually built this little application.
Oh yeah, I just very quickly
put something together.
Threw something together,
which is very good. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, so click pitch is a game where we've each got a random word generator. I think on the count of 3 to 1 click, we're going to each click refresh, get a word, throw it at each other, then come up with the game design, just like we did with click picture. Here we go. 3 to 1 click.
Let's do it. 3 to 1 click.
Guess.
Terminal. Oh, guess.
Yes.
Terminal. Yeah, that could be a lot of things. I'm picturing like an airport. Maybe?
Yeah, same here. I
was
sort of thinking duty free at the airport. I was thinking, Guess, if you remember, was a brand of watches.
Oh, yeah. They've come to us. They've said we need a Guess branded video game as a marketing stunt. It's going to be AAA quality. We're throwing millions of dollars at it. All major platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the Guess Watch video game about? Do we come up with some... let's go to the basics. Is this some sort of grand narrative adventure? Is this some sort of arcadey kind of something else? Is this like a thought-provoking...
Oh, hell no. I was thinking this is like a small little story about different duty-free shops in a terminal. Okay. And what's actually happening is they're not getting too much business because of a global pandemic.
Okay.
Now, if you're listening to this in the future, back in 2020, there was a pandemic.
The 2020 COVID-19 pandemic. Okay. And are you then like your ragtag band of duty-free shop owners going to like solve the pandemic, like come up with a vaccine?
No, so what I actually think it is you've got to try and get through the day, and it's sort of set over like 5 days or something like that, kind of like what Five Nights at Freddy's is and all that sort of stuff. But instead, you've just got all these people coming in who, you know, you have to tell which one's actually infected, which one's
oh my god,
not. And yeah, the whole idea is to get through the game without getting COVID-19.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna yes and you here against my better judgment. So, how do you tell? Like, what sort of indicators are you going to have? Are you just looking for coughs and fevers?
Yeah, but see, the problem is these people, like, as we've sort of realized in the real world, like, this is one of those symptomless.
Yeah, the incubation period is fairly long.
Yeah. 14-day bloody incubation period without any symptoms, and then all of a sudden you start getting sick, and it's like, well, you've spread it around in that time.
Yes.
So yeah, it's literally just purely
it's pure
random.
chance. So okay, so as a weird corporate sponsored game, it's just going to be completely terrible, and it's literally you sell people watches where you have to touch them to like put the watches on them, and then at the end of the game, it tells you whether or not you were infected.
Exactly,
and you have no chance to figure out. And this is why it's called. This is why it's guess. 3, 2, 1, click.
Yep. Girl.
Format.
Ooh. I don't know whether I like where my head just went.
I know. Well, yeah. Was it like some sort of sex robot thing?
Oh, it wasn't. It was actually. It was again, you know, based off of some sort of media thing. As in,
yeah, so like
format,
a drive of some sort, a disc.
It definitely wasn't in the sex robot sort of thing, but it was more around in. I was sort of going towards more yes robot, and you know, just talking about formatting an actual robot.
Okay. So maybe this is a story set in the future.
Yep.
And like it's sort of a future where people, you know, are very much blended with computers. Mm-hmm. You know, basically cyborg everything in a very, you know, you enhance your memory by adding new drives or whatever, you know,
yep.
adding new chips into your brain board and this sort of thing. And so it's the story of someone who, yeah, like is navigating this world, and maybe they find out they've got a virus or something, or like a corrupt sector, and they're having to decide whether or not to format themselves, and like basically they're going to lose a big chunk of themselves by having to do this. So yeah, kind of exploring a world where it's basically a disease, right? Like it's almost like a cancer where you've got the choice to attempt chemotherapy with, you know, not knowing what's going to be left of you after it, but it's the only chance to...
Effectively, they're going to be replacing the hard drive in your head. And, you know, as far as you know, that's where all your memories are.
Yeah, well, I think, like, basically they don't know... Basically, you don't know how much of your brain has kind of meshed in with the technology. And so you will have... You know, you'll have, like, they're like, you'll definitely have, you know, all the memories from before you got your implants. Mm-hmm. But, you know, where it's so far in the future, it's like you get your implants at like age 3 or something. And then they don't know which ones would have been stored on the drive and which ones would have been stored, like, in your actual organic matter.
Yep.
And, yeah, it's this sort of thing.
Yeah, I do kind of like that, as in, you know, over time, maybe you can talk about the different upgrades that your character has had over the years, and you start to go down the path of, you know, how many how many upgrades do you actually go through before you're no longer your original self anyway?
Yeah. Look, it's the classic kind of cyberpunk aesthetic, right? And dilemma of how machine do you need to be before you're more machine than human.
Yep.
But I also like the idea of keeping it a bit tongue in cheek, and it's things like when you and I format our computers or whatever, what are the worst things? It's like, okay, what can I recover? What can I back up? Now I'm going to have to reinstall all my things. Do I have the licenses? Right. And so
I own this, but does it consider this a totally different PC? And so is this a different install?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm going to have to buy a new license for my, scanning heuristic software for remembering faces, right? For linking faces to the names in my memory.
You mean the Facebook?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Facebook, my Facebook license isn't registering, and so I need to buy, I need to spend the money on a new one. Otherwise, I'm not going to know anybody's names or their histories or whatever.
I was actually thinking of a Microsoft program of like memory scanner and that sort of stuff.
My Microsoft Word has expired and now I can't speak.
Now I don't speak English good.
My PowerPoint has expired and now when I point at things, it's really weak.
I no longer excel at math.
Yeah, exactly.
But
okay,
for some reason, but for some reason, like my AdSense is going really, really well.
I like the idea of exploring this cyberpunky world. Mm-hmm. So let's think about the gameplay, like what sort of game this is, and how we can use those to. Yeah, I don't know where this story comes in, because we're kind of mixing comedy with a quite tragic story in a way.
Yeah,
which is fine. Like it could be a dark comedy. Yeah, I don't know. What are you thinking?
So I'm thinking that the family sort of get all the way around. Maybe in the past, like as you're watching through these upgrades, you get through to like her mid to late teens, and all of a sudden her father isn't in the picture anymore because he had a failed component and they weren't able to actually save his memory, sort of thing. So he didn't quite come out the same. I don't think he died as such. I think his personality changed quite a lot, and therefore, he was no longer in the family, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing to explore. I don't know if I'd want to just go through this as like a sequential kind of flashbacky sort of thing.
Oh no, not the whole thing. I'm thinking at certain moments of the story, you can sort of link
so you're
back
saying like,
to something.
Okay, like to the time she got a particular piece of software installed or a particular piece of hardware installed.
Yeah, and you know what this kind of brings to mind? It's Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah,
sort of. Yeah, able to go through these memories as sort of like and interact, but they kind of are a little bit weird.
Okay, so maybe let's think of this from a technical reason within this world why she has to kind of relive these memories. Maybe it's some sort of calibration. Maybe it's some sort of, they're trying to recover as much of it as they can, but while doing so, they need her help from within the memories to kind of confirm things or align it between the hardware and the, wetware, as it was, the actual organic matter, to kind of get that like lock on the actual correct memory structures or something. Yeah, that could be cool.
Yeah, and I mean, it's 100% serious that she really doesn't want to go through that red door. At least not while they watch it. watch listen to a couple of episodes back. And
yeah. No, I like that a lot, though. I think that's a really interesting way to explore that story and explore that world.
Yeah, and I think that's when you can actually have, like, as part of these memories and that sort of stuff, you can have almost like the radio coming through, like, in this memory as you're going through it. Like, you sort of wake up in the morning and the radio turns on and it's kind of like the start of Groundhog Day. But then over the radio, you hear these two people talking about you and it's like, oh, she's online. Okay, so what's going to happen is you're going to go through all these different memories and, you can sort of then have them helping her through.
Yeah, like telling the whole story through that.
Yep.
Like, literally the start of the game is you're in this memory.
Yeah, you've sort of woken up, a la, heavy rain or something like that. And then as you're going through the start of the day, when the radio is on, all of a sudden it starts talking to you. Yeah,
well, I mean, I don't think if we're this far in the future, it's probably not like the old wireless. I think it's. I mean, maybe it's different things depending on the memory, but I'm thinking you don't do the memories chronologically either.
Oh, no.
So, this was a memory from 10 years ago where she still had most of her stuff, and so, yeah, it's like coming up as, like, screens in her vision or whatever, or like, the moving image that follows her around the house because it's a smart house that, it's got video or whatever. Yeah, so you do it all nice and cyberpunky, futury kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. And I can imagine, the jump between, sort of like the childhood house that she had growing up, and then when all of a sudden the technology sort of took over, then everything changed big time.
Okay.
Like, it became more
so
neon.
Okay, so she was born, like, just before the sort of the start of the singularity almost. Yeah. When there was a huge leap in technology over a short amount of time, and,
yeah,
because, so there's a lot more artificial intelligence, there's a lot more sort of body modification and merging with technology, extension of life, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I think you could really tell a cool story just about.
Yeah, well, and I think with the doctors sort of speaking to you through these memories, is it creates a lot of opportunity for just exposition through dialogue, right? You're almost able to have her in a monologue, but have it make sense because she's actually talking to these doctors, as it can even be as things are playing out within the memory.
Because she's having to describe this thing and explain where this memory fits
of it or
in.
Something, but yes. So that could give you a really good opportunity to anchor that all together.
It really opens
like
things
it.
up. This is.
I wanna play that game.
Somebody make
Hit us up, David Cage.
And if you want to do it in VR, then that everything's better in VR.
Yeah. It's true. I feel like this would be... I was thinking of it not VR, but the only thing about it being cool in VR is, like, having all these, like, cyberpunky overlays on your vision and stuff as you look around. And
exactly.
Like, hooks the Facebook... you get the Facebook pop-ups coming up whenever you see anyone that's got their little Facebook profile next to them. And
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, click.
Love it. Yeah. Passport.
Collecting.
Ooh. Collecting passports.
Yeah.
Is this like some sort of spy, deep cover situation? Or just someone who just tries to defraud different countries and get citizenship in them illegally, as many as they can?
No, I'm kind of going back to the airport and having it as this guy's a pickpocket. Collecting passports.
Oh, just literally collecting people's passports.
From all over the world. He's trying to get every single country's passport.
That's interesting, because now I'm picturing almost a Hitman Light, where you've just got a relatively small area and you're having to basically figure out where the one person in this area is who's from a country you don't have, and then plan how to steal their passport.
Yeah.
And then maybe, like, based on different things you do, it lets you go to, like, then travel elsewhere. Maybe it's just a general pickpocket game, actually.
Yeah. I'm
you have to,
thinking that
like-
you've got to sort of like plan out, okay, I want to bump into them when they're on my right side because, then I'm better at pickpocketing on the right-hand side rather than the left. Like,
Well, I think what you do is make it so, like, just general pickpocketing is almost automatic.
Mm-hmm.
As you, like, walk through a crowd, you just start, like, collecting wallets and purses and things.
Kind of like if you remember Assassin's Creed, like you could hold down the button and you sort of just blend in with the crowd and that sort of stuff.
That was almost exactly what I was thinking. You like hit the button as you're walking through a crowd, and you're just seeing just these really like subtle little animations as they just like slip things out of pockets and purses. And I think unless you're, being watched by security or whatever, there's no chance of you getting caught from that. But then I think you've got like bigger marks where you do have to plan it out a bit better. And then, I think your goal is to find that passport from a particular person, and you have to specifically plan out how to pickpocket from them. But what I was thinking with the money is like, you can earn, depending on how you go in the level, you earn different amounts of money, and maybe that's how you have to then travel around. It's like, oh shit, I can't afford a ticket to such and such where there's likely to be this sort of passport, passport from this country. So, you have to build that up over time.
Yeah. And then I do like the idea of there being like, talk about this one particular, country, has a ban on travel sort of thing. So know that it's going to be really, really hard to get this one passport, but then there's like a diplomat coming from that country.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's all about, can you collect that passport?
I really like that idea of it being, because it's very, like, the intentions of the pickpocket are very apolitical and almost amoral in that they're not trying to hurt anybody. It is going to hurt people because they're losing their passports, but the whole goal is just this collection. And sort of that's the only impetus behind it.
What I do like is for the speedrunners out there is a way of collecting that. Like, I'm sort of thinking, if you remember the movie The Terminal, where you had Tom Hanks, like there's like a character kind of like that who's from this country. So in the very first day, if you find this particular character, you can actually collect that one passport. But then at the end of that day, it becomes almost impossible to pick up this one passport until...
without going through the sort of the story as such. Yeah, that's cool. You could have lots of Easter eggs like that.
Yeah.
And you could even do that, it doesn't just have to be the one country that's super hard. Like, different countries have different rarities depending on which airport you're in. And, you could add in different hidden ways to get those, more rare passports.
Surprisingly, one of the easiest ways to get all the passports is to become a TSA agent.
I do like the idea of that as an option to at least, like, case your marks, right? In that, if you're a border guard, then you get to look at all the passports. It's probably too obvious to just pocket them then and there, but you're like, okay, you're I saw these 3 coming through
on your break later on.
Yeah, exactly. You track them down.
That's cool.
Well, that's cool. That could be one of those things where it's like, it's almost just a gameplay mechanic of like, okay, do a shift as a border guard or a customs agent. And that just means that as you're walking around now, it'll like highlight that this person has when you see them, you're like, that person definitely has this passport. Rather than literally having to sit there and go through 100 passports before you get the one you want.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I like that. I like that. Yeah. 3, 2, 1, click.
Yeah. Opening.
Graffiti.
Ooh. Graffiti opening.
So, I just found out something a little bit interesting.
Okay.
The word that actually came up was graffito.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, what is graffito?
Is the male
it's like,
graffiti?
It's just a noun version of graffiti.
Okay. A graffito. Oh, I gotcha.
from Italian, pluro, from graffito, a scratch. So, writing or drawing, scribbled, scratched, or sprayed illicitly on a wall surface. Yeah, so that's actually kind of interesting. Little tidbit. But anyway, graffiti it is. Because graffiti makes more sense.
What was that game? Who was that like famous graffiti artist back in the day who like sold sneakers and then they made a game from his stuff? Is it Mark something?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't remember it well enough, and I was going to say let's make a sequel to it, but since I do like the idea of it being like that kind of that graffiti underbelly, right? Like the scene.
Wasn't it Mark Evans or something like that?
Something like that. Mark Echo.
There we go.
We were both close.
Yeah.
Getting Up.
Oh yeah, I forgot it was it was called Getting Up.
It doesn't actually have to be. It doesn't have to be him, but I do kind of like that idea of the graffiti sort of subculture.
Okay.
And kind of dramatizing that in a sense.
Okay, so I've just looked into graffito in archaeology.
Okay.
A graffito in an archaeological context is a deliberate mark made by scratching or engraving on a large surface such as a wall. So it could also be like we could take it in like an Indiana Jones sort of context of there's maybe some scratches or something that are found that now make sense from almost that you think that someone's come in and affected this archaeological dig sort of thing.
Okay. Maybe you are a modern day graffiti artist.
Yep.
Who is also an archaeologist.
Yep, I like it.
And your goal is to preserve ancient graffiti by like the rebels of the past.
Well, I do like the idea that if you look down I'm talking about Mooroolbark here, but in Mooroolbark there's a few like really, really nice graffiti drawings or paintings on walls and that sort of stuff. And you'll never find that someone will tag it because they respect like the work that's being done too much.
Yeah.
I like the idea of this archaeological Indiana Jones type. Let's just say that. So I don't have to keep on saying archaeologist. There's Indiana Jones type who finds out that there's people going around defacing like these like cave paintings and stuff that are effectively like the
ancient graffiti.
Ancient graffiti.
Yeah.
So it's all about who put this tag on this ancient graffiti.
I do like the idea of like tracking down someone based on their tag. That's interesting.
Yep. I'm kind of thinking almost like a Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego crossed with Uncharted.
Yeah.
That you have to.
Okay, so there's this organization or like group of international graffiti villains, basically, who are going around trying to deface ancient graffiti, ancient artworks by ancient graffiti artists, because they're assholes.
As are all villains.
Yeah, generally, it's a prerequisite. So you play this Indiana spray paint or whatever who has to
Indiana spray paint.
I couldn't go. That was the best I could do. Who finds these tags and is like, okay, they basically go into detective mode. They're basically a detective at this point, and it's like tracking down this tag and like Do they have tech? Are they like doing image searches of different cities to find matching tags and like following them back to the base? And
they're taking little paint scratching so that they can find out, what brand of spray paint was used and that sort of stuff. It's one of those things that when you actually see, oh look, there's paint drops on the ground because they didn't clean up their spray can.
Yeah, they were in a hurry or something. Like, they.
So you can track them down to where the car, where the car was waiting, and then you can, find out what tire tracks they had and that sort of stuff.
If I lay paper on this tire track and then spray paint onto it from the exact right distance, the pressure from the spray will make a perfect recreation of these tire tracks. It's all
the tech
graffiti
is
based
paint,
markers, stencils,
Oh god!
And then you're tracking down this cabal like one by one, crossing them off the list as you get them arrested or something.
Yeah, I'm almost thinking whether it's got that sort of idea that. If you remember the game Mercenaries that had like the card deck. Yeah, I kind of like that.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah. You've got a big graffiti mural in your user interface that as you find them, just these big dripping red X's get spray painted across their faces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or like put them in bars or something.
Yeah, I like the idea of these henchmen of these bigger graffiti groups.
And I'm always picturing like Arkham style combat and stuff, but with all these like graffiti based combos and things. So like you flip someone around here and then you turn around and like spray this guy in the face with paint to stun them, sweep the leg of this other one,
knock him out with a hit to the face with the base of the spray paint can.
Yeah. Particularly if you like decal up the characters so you know which one you've sprayed in the face.
Yeah.
Like it stays.
Oh god.
That's pretty awesome.
It is.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1 click. 2, 1 click.
Preview.
Gender.
I'm thinking of gender reveal parties.
Yep. And why they're bad.
They are bad. Our society is way too obsessed with babies' genitalia.
Yeah.
So can we satirize that in some way? I'm not sure how this
Okay, so
goes.
technology has gotten to the point that because people wanted to find out the gender of unborn babies so much that there's an elective surgery that women can have where basically a window gets put into their stomach so that you can see into the uterus and see how the baby's growing the entire time.
Okay, does it have like built-in ultrasound, or does it have built-in like magnify? Like, because I'm pretty sure you'd find out sooner with an ultrasound still than just being able to physically see it with your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Is there some sort of?
I think it's some sort of.
Is this within that same cyberpunky world? And as soon as conception occurs, like you get a little like LED scrolling thing across the woman's belly. It's a boy.
Oh god!
We could use this just as a narrative kickoff.
Yep.
In some way, like there's something in it's just a story. Something
about this couple who decide not to have a gender reveal party.
Like okay, and not to celebrate. Yep.
Yeah, they decided
heteronormativity
to
or gender
normativity. What happens with everyone else, where they all find out, what gender they have, because they're like, well, we want the surprise, and
and it's just not important.
And it's not important. Like, as long as the baby is safe, healthy, happy, what does it matter?
Okay, and is their family just like hounding them?
Oh yeah, and it's friends and family hounding and all this sort of stuff, and they're going through this story of why it's important to them that they don't know.
Yeah, look, there's definitely an opportunity there to explore the politics around that.
Mm-hmm.
How you make it into a game, I'm not sure.
Oh, I mean, interactive fiction, visual novel.
I just feel like on our podcast where we try to come up with interesting game mechanics, we do that too often as a cop-out. But that's fine. Like, yeah, I agree that would be an interesting way to explore those ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So let's click again because we can't come up with anything more interesting than that.
Definitely not. 3, 2, 1, click. Button.
Bound. Button bound. What are you thinking?
So I saw this game recently, just this morning, that is sort of like a take on Satisfactory / Factorio and that sort of thing. But the other thing that you could do is actually like implement different programming throughout the world as well. That you can sort of there's a button there, and you can use this interface to actually have a look and see what happens if you click the button. And I just started thinking, okay, what if in this game your character has one button?
Okay. As
in, it can do anything. It's a magic button, but you've got to program what it can actually do. So
okay, I can get behind that. I'm picturing. Did you play Gun Thing? Tom Francis side on pixely gun. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay. It was a game where you were a detective and you could go through these buildings and you could like gunpoint.
I've got it here. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So in Gunpoint, you were kind of making your way through these, side-on buildings. But you could hook up switches to other, like you could basically go into programming mode, and you'd be able to see, okay, there's a switch here, and it's hooked up to this light here, and instead you could hook it up to a door or an elevator or whatever. By just sort of dragging and dropping and making those connections. I'm picturing something similar, but in first person.
Yep. Well, I'm actually picturing
maybe
VR.
VR. VR makes sense because then you can like hammer down on that button.
Yeah.
I'm picturing in your
picturing
non-dominant hand, you've just got this big red button.
Yep.
And in your other hand, you've got your hand, and you can hit that button. But if you like pull the grip on your non-dominant hand, everything goes into slow motion and into your like design mode.
Yeah.
And you can
see the little tethers that you can connect up to the button.
Yes, exactly. And I think also within the world, you can connect other things up to each other to like create maybe cascading things. But the button, of course, is always
basically the go
set
button.
It off. Yes, it's the go button. That's cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Particularly if you I like this idea of doing it through combat, as in you've got this. It's almost there's almost an element of super hot in that you've got this. It's almost a puzzle. It's like it's almost like a puzzle, like a first person puzzler where you come into this space and there's a bunch of people and this one's coming towards you and this other one's pulling a gun. And you go and just you hit the slow motion button and things slow down and you're like, all right, what can I do here? And you've just got all these things in the world that you can kind of turn this on to distract them or like an automatic door that you can open that's going to bump this thing and it'll knock them over or whatever.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, you could actually have it set up so later on there's full-on Rube Goldberg sort of devices that you can actually set up. I kind of like the idea that it's not necessarily mandatory that you have to do these Rube Goldberg devices to actually beat the game. But I like the idea of you can sort of set up cascading programs that actually, set this off, that then sets this off, that then sets this off, that...
Yeah, all the while, like, clearing the path that you're trying to, like, actually solving. Like, it may not all be combat-based, but you may just have puzzles where you need to, like, open this door or smash this thing or whatever. One thing you definitely have to be able to do is... If you don't have to use your hand to hit the button. So if you've got like a guy running towards you and you've hooked it all up, you just like fucking palm the button into his forehead, and that like hits, obviously triggers the button, and everything like fires off.
Yeah, it's really cool. There's been a few games that have played around with that. Quadrilateral Cowboy. Yeah. The game Hack and Slash.
Yeah.
In which you could hack enemies into, like
just set different variables and different things. Yeah, for sure. You're almost mixing up, like... I mean, even if you think of things like Minecraft or whatever, where you can set up circuits and different whatever, and or things like Satisfactory, obviously that's more of a, creating an assembly line, but it's hooking those different aspects together in both aesthetically pleasing and productive ways.
Oh yeah, I'm imagining that in the normal world, like, you don't actually really see anything hooked up to the button, but you hold down the grip button, and then all of a sudden you literally see all these like quantum wires. I'm almost thinking, that something you get like that, sort of like quantum entanglement, but there's only so many wires that can be connected.
And maybe
to
as you go through the game, you can, like, initially you can only hook one quantum wire up to your button, right? But as you go through the game, you like unlock new connectors or something, so you can trigger multiple things at once or something.
And
like
then
that.
You can trigger different effects that actually happen with that as well. So
like timers and that's I like that a lot. It'd take a hell of a lot of iteration to really make all that work and come up with all the different things you could do, but I could see it's some really, what's the word? Emergent. Some really emergent gameplay coming out of that idea, for sure.
Yep.
Love it.
Cool.
Click.
Last one for tonight.
All right, so I think let's finish this up with another click picture. I'll let you paste it into our Discord, and we will tell the listening audience what's coming up. I'm there. I'm ready. I'm waiting.
Can you see that I'm
Trevor
typing?
is typing 3 dots. What is it? Okay, we have a bearded man with eating a what looks like an unpeeled banana, except the rest of the banana is coming out the back of his head, and it is peeled in the very traditional manner. But it does seem to be going all the way through his head.
Yep. Okay, so remember in the movie The Happening, where people were committing suicide?
Okay.
So this is a thing where there's this brand new like banana variety in which you can eat the skin.
Okay.
But
when it comes into contact with saliva, it grows exponentially.
I'm thinking that it's one of these things where people there's a very small percentage of the population who, when they go to eat this banana, they immediately just shove it all the way through their head and kill themselves.
Is it a half-meter long banana?
Yes, 100%.
That's an interesting idea. My thought was this is a very different kind of fruit ninja. Throwing like discs of cucumber instead of shuriken, and one big long banana as a sword.
So what's actually happened is you've impaled this guy through the face, and he's trying to pull the banana out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. You're
literally a fruit ninja. using fruit as weapons.
You know how like Plants vs. Zombies was this kind of relatively kid-friendly sort of tower defensive sort of game, and then the sequel was like an FPS?
Yeah.
It's basically this. It's like Fruit Ninja was this fun fruit cutting game, and then the sequel is like, now you viciously murder people with fruit.
Yep. Yep. Okay, so is it Battle Royale or is it 5-on-5?
You thinking multiplayer? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Well, I mean, it's very melee based is the thing. Like, I find multiplayer melee doesn't really work that well. Maybe this is more of a, like, along the lines of a Star Wars-y Jedi game, but you're a fruit ninja, so you'd hack in your way through enemies, waves of enemies.
Yep. I like that.
All right, so in a world where you are the fruit ninja, who is your enemy?
The veggie shredder or veggie slicer or something like that.
Or like the carbonator or something, like the sugar daddy.
Sugar daddy.
Like uses sweets and cakes and stuff.
Oh God.
There could be a moral to this story. You're like fighting off all the cholesterol and sugar or like processed sugar.
Yep.
Are you attacking?
Okay.
But I like we're not going super fanciful with it. Like, we keep it serious where this is a villain, like, serious in air quotes, but along the lines of, these aren't like anthropomorphic Pop-Tarts or anything. These are like henchmen, people who are working for the sugar daddy and have not had any second thoughts about the fact that they're dressing up in like lollipop themed uniforms and things.
Oh Jesus Christ! I'm now picturing
like
some people
hats.
dressed like Lollipop Guild from Wizard of Oz and that sort of stuff. Like how creepy that sort of dress would actually be. It's like, oh. Then they come at you with these massive lollipops and they're just trying to crush you.
Oh yeah, they're like lollipop axes. Like the edges are sharpened. They've licked them down to a sharp edge.
Yep. So, okay, what are the other weapons that you've got? So we know that we've got a meter-long banana.
And cucumber sliced shuriken.
Yep.
Okay. How do you... I think if you could, like, throw a lettuce as a smoke bomb. Like, you throw a lettuce and just the lettuce leaves just, like... to, like, get... you can sort of...
It's got a slight explosive in there just to launch it into the air.
I mean, if you've got a meter-long banana that can impale people's heads, like, yeah, it's fine.
It's fantasy.
Yeah, exactly. Google ninja weapons.
Oh, I kind of like the idea of having like a lemon as like a mace.
Yeah, okay.
As in, you squeeze the lemon juice into their eyes and they can't see.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, right, that sort of mace. I thought you were thinking like a mace is in like something on the end of a like
No. That would be a pineapple.
Maybe, yeah. Although I'm just looking at different ninja weapons, and pineapple would make good caltrops.
No, but dragon fruit would too.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's good.
Yeah, I kind of see. If you shoved like a stick into a pineapple, like it's got a big, nice, heavy thing on the end. Coconuts, they can be just thrown at people, and that's
you just throw them. Yeah,
that causes a lot of damage, and you can rip them open with your bare hands to get the healing properties of the milk.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I love that idea of just like, I need a heal. Pull out a coconut and just like tear it up open above your head and let all the milk spill over you.
Yeah.
Totally.
You don't drink it. That's just disgusting.
No, fuck, who's got time for that?
We've got rub it into the skin.
We've got fucking cupcakes to banana-ize.
Okay, so how much blood is in this? Is it like plenty. Super, super gory?
Yeah, I think you go all in. I think you take this, like, go super straight with it, as if it was an actual hardcore, gory ninja game.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even draw attention to the fact that your character's using a banana as its main weapon. The enemies is all fucking cupcakes and, like, bread. Like, it's your two enemies. You got, like, the Carbonator, you got Sugar Daddy, and you got, like, fried food. Like, yeah, I guess that's sort of carbs as well, but, like, yeah.
Ooh. I'm just imagining how gory this could actually look. Like, I'm thinking, that classic scene from Kill Bill-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cutting limbs off and all this sort of stuff and just spraying out blood everywhere.
Totally.
Cool.
Yeah, I like that. That's fun. And again, I guess you'd go with the classic sort of Arkham-ish Shadow of War style, multiple enemies at once.
Yeah.
Dashing around with some very ninja moves of, like being able to speed across the room quickly as a move, or smoke bomb your way out up onto a ledge and different things like that.
Oh, smoke bomb.
Let's bomb.
Okay. I reckon that'll do us for tonight.
Let's leave it there. Thank you for joining us this week on Bitstorm. We really mean that. We love that you're listening right now. If you want to tell us that you are listening, go to podchase.com/bitstorm, leave us a review. We would love that. And as of this week, we can now reply and say thank you in person. And we will do so. You can also just go there to find all of our previous episodes. There are a lot of them. And there's a lot of good stuff in there. 169 plus some extras. So check them out. Podchase.com/bitstorm. We're also part of the 8-Bit Collective. Go to 8bit.net. Check out all the other fantastic shows. And definitely look out for us soon on a very special episode of the 8-Bit Cast.
Say no more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'd also like it if you could check out the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network. Just look for the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network on Facebook or AGP Network on Twitter. Finally, we'd like to thank Kurodust for the song Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure.
Yeah, that's right. So, thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
And my brain just blue screen.